All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Symbaloo webinar series. My name is Michelle. I am the Marketing and Community Engagement Manager here at Symbaloo. Today, I have a very special educator with me, and she'll be walking you through how to integrate STEM through Symbaloo. So, Jillian, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, this is my first time doing a webinar with you all, and I'm excited. I have a lot to share about integrating STEM through using Symbaloo, and yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're really excited to get through this. And also, it is Computer Science Education Week. So this is a really great way to show how we can use Symbaloo during this week. And yes, I'm really excited to talk more about that. We also have a chat box. So if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to enter in our chat if you have any questions at all. I'll be reading the chat, and so I'll be relaying them to Jillian while she's presenting. And we'll also have some time at the end of her presentation to answer any of your questions. So let's just give people a couple minutes just to kind of get onto the webinar, get situated, and all of that. But Jillian, if you don't mind, would you care to share your background a little bit and how you even came, to STEM?
Yeah. So my name is Jillian Johnson, and I have been a teacher for about 10 years now. I've been teaching in elementary school for Orlando, Florida, Central Florida area. And I am excited because this year is a new role for myself. I am working as a STEM coordinator for our school because we are very fortunate to move over into a focus school-wide on STEM education and STEM learning. So this year has been really exciting, and it's been also a lot of hard work and challenges as we're kind of adapting this, new focus and everything. But the benefits of this type of learning, it shines through, and it makes the hard work and the challenges more bearable because you're working for something that's making a difference, and it's worth something for these kids. We saw a lot of changes with education in the last couple of years, especially with ed tech and technology, and the way our students are preferring to learn. And we need to adapt with their needs and with the world that we're in. So I believe STEM education, this type of learning, is that's the way to do it. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of different ways in that teachers and students, administration, school leaders, anybody could use these tips to integrate STEM learning more easily in with your classroom by the use of Symbaloo.
Awesome. So why don't we get started? Jillian, feel free, go ahead and take it away.
Yay. All right. So yeah, I love that you brought up this week is Computer Science Week. So I'm going to touch on a few things specific to that because one of the big buzzwords for this week is also Hour of Code. So I know a lot of teachers are Googling resources for Hour of Code and how to support that in their class. So I'm going to be sharing a few ways and how you could do that, again, with the help of Symbaloo.
Awesome. And before we get started, do you mind just explaining a little bit what Hour of Code is, if people don't know?
Yeah. So basically, Hour of Code, it's a way to kind of bring awareness to computer science education. There's a huge need for this type of learning, as I was just mentioning. But a lot of people are still hesitant on jumping on board with it. They hear coding or robotics and they instantly shut down. They think it's this, foreign language or something very complicated. But it's not that complicated. And that's really what Hour of Code is intended for, to have people get the opportunity to just try it and see that it's not as hard as you might be fearful that it is. And it's amazing. I mean, I was working with fourth graders earlier today. We had the kids jumping on Hour of Code, and they were just doing some activities on the website, which I'll show you in a second. but some of the kids they were just doing amazing things within 15 minutes of jumping on it for the first time. And I had one student say, like, I'm good at this. I'm good at this. And he was excited. And this was a student that I've, he has some challenges with other things. So here he was feeling successful with something within 15 minutes of trying it. So it's pretty amazing, especially for adult learners too. A lot of the teachers here, same thing. They hear coding, robotics, they shut down. But once you just take that jump and just try it, you realize it's not that hard. And you're probably already doing coding lessons without even really realizing it.
That's true.
Yeah, it's really important, and I love that it's just becoming bigger and bigger and bigger as far as like the awareness and the whole community of coding, and yeah, it's just really cool.
Definitely.
Alrighty, so I'm going to be talking about a few different ways in how you can integrate STEM through Symbaloo. So again, my name is Jillian Johnson, and you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn at Jill Johnson STEM. So if you are new to Symbaloo, or you've never heard of it, Symbaloo is essentially a bookmarking tool that helps you organize links more easily. And there's a few other bookmarking sites out there, but Symbaloo is the best one that I've definitely come across. I first learned about Symbaloo back probably 4 years ago. I was earning my master's in educational technology and instructional design. And I came across Symbaloo as one of the ed tech tools. And yeah, I just loved it. They have an app for it on my phone, so I can kind of switch between using my cell phone to save shortcuts, or look up shortcuts or bookmarks, or my computer. And there's just a lot of benefits to using it that you're going to hear about that I'm going to share with you. So yeah, essentially it's going to give you easy access to links to, for our case, support STEM learning. You can create web mixes based on any of your needs. So I'm going to show you here. Web mix is essentially your group of links, your group of resources, your group of tiles is what we could call them. And so this one right here, you can see it's our code. They have all these little links or tiles here, and each one is going to link out to a new URL. I'm going to show you a lot of different examples here. This one, our code. This one here is STEM. So you can kind of see there's different colors of the tiles and how they're organized. Here's a mega STEM. This one's got a ton of resources. So you can kind of tell they're customizable as far as how much you're putting on there. I mean, sometimes I even condense them more depending on the grade I'm working with. A kindergartner, if they were to see, something like this, it might be a little overwhelming for them. But, you have the ability to resize it, or, change the colors so, there's not as much of a contrast, or, literally any of those kind of changes to make it work with how you want it to work. So essentially, these are all examples of web mixes. You can design these web mixes based on any sort of STEM topic. So perhaps you're doing robotics for a month, and you want a whole web mix based just on robotics. Or if it's Hour of Code Week, perhaps you're going to have a web mix where it's all on the topic of Hour of Code. Maybe you want to even have a club at your school. We offer Girls Who Code Club, and this is a web mix that I was working on here, and I'm going to show you how I work with this. But this is the actual web mix for the club, where you can find out what the club is, where to go to sign up, videos and what you're doing in the club, links to books that the students read. There's activities linked here. all of these things are just ready to go for the students that are in the club. So again, it's kind of taking out that guesswork as far as, you know, what links do I share with my students, or, you know, how am I going to share these with them? Symbaloo just makes it easier to kind of streamline those out to your audience, whether it is students or teachers or admin or anyone. I'm also going to talk about the STEM resource library. Symbaloo has an amazing library of resources that you can search for. So teachers, we like saving time when it comes to finding things to use. The curriculum that we receive, if we do receive curriculum, it's not always the best, right? So as a teacher, I feel like we're spending most of our time just finding stuff, looking for stuff, whether it's Instagram or Twitter or Pinterest or just Google, right? I feel like we're constantly having to look for that. And Symbaloo already has a resource library ready where all of these other teachers already searched for it all. They already set it up. They already put in that hard work. So now I can copy that, I can take it, and I can edit it to how I need it for my students or for my school. So I'm going to talk about that as well. And yeah, it's customizable, as I've already mentioned. You know, if I want to change the background to this, so it's not pink for Girls Who Code, maybe I want it to be blue. All of these things to customize and personalize it are very, very simple to do. I mean, it's literally just a matter of, you know, going to the settings and being able to change your wallpaper. Maybe I want to have, you know, an image for the background, or, you know, I don't want that pink color. You can see how quick and easy it is for me to change those things, which I love, because when we can customize and tailor things specific to our students, they pick up on that. They know that, and they're going to listen more. They're going to learn more, and they're going to feel better because you took the time to tailor it to them, make it special for them, right? Mm-hmm. So I really love that it has that ability built in. And then also Symbaloo has what they're called learning paths, and these are amazing. I'm not going to hit on those too much, but just to kind of, you know, mention them out there here, there are a lot of learning paths already set up. And a learning path, basically, it's walking students or teachers through a self-paced course in a way. So it's almost like you're building out a course. So maybe you want your teachers to go to this video and watch a video on STEM. And then maybe you want them to write a reflection on how they feel about STEM. And then maybe you want them to do this activity. All of that could be built out through the learning paths. So those are really neat. So why are we actually talking about STEM and integrating it through Symbaloo? As I had mentioned it before, you know, this type of learning is incredibly, it's a very high need area right now. We need our students as young as kindergarten age to learn these concepts, to build that foundation for STEM and computer science, because this is the type of world that, you know, we're in, and we need to better prepare our students for this world that we're in and the world that we're going to be in. So again, you know, really trying to incorporate hands-on STEM learning where you're integrating across those subject areas while also being able to, you know, engage the students, you know, have them kind of recognize their strengths with their learning. Because unfortunately, traditional school, it doesn't, you know, help students' confidence when they're someone that needs more support with reading. If you're a struggling reader, then it's very hard to feel successful and confident in the other areas of traditional school. That's another reason why I feel that this type of learning is so beneficial, because it helps to, you know, allow those students to feel successful finally. They're realizing that yes, they might struggle with reading. They might need more support with that, but they're also, able to piece together puzzles, complex puzzles. Perhaps they're able to, engineer and problem solve, other science concepts that they never felt like they could have before. So again, it's kind of like building that learning equity, making it more equitable for all of our students, and meeting them at whatever level they're at when they come to you, when they're here to learn. So, kind of bridging that gap between traditional learning where we're at while also incorporating STEM learning. And the best way to do it is using ed tech, using a tool like this, because the students are able to, they're actually putting all of this into practice when they're using things like Symbaloo. So yeah, I just, I get a little passionate about this topic.
As you should.
As I should. Well, I have 3 boys of my own, and I see it firsthand as a mom and as a teacher. It's important, and there's a lot of potential here and where we're kind of going with education. So one of the huge benefits when it comes to incorporating STEM with Symbaloo is the access to things. Again, kind of building that the equity kind of in, having learning be an equal opportunity for everyone. So allowing that access to be, more easily accessible, and having the students not have to waste time, or the teachers having to waste time on, where do I go for this? I don't know how to do this, so I'm not even going to try. Or, teachers thinking they have to be trained on something before they can use it. Symbaloo is a tool that you do not require training to be able to use. As I was showing and talking about earlier, something like this, this web mix was built for Aviation Day, and it's very simplified. Kindergartners were able to use this because it's just a matter of clicking, whether they're on an iPad or they're on their device, their computer, laptop. It's just a matter of pointing and clicking. So there's not really a learning curve where, that's involved for something like this. So that is really important, especially for elementary age. And it's most comparable. When I first saw it, it reminded me of like the iPhone software, right?
Yes.
On your phone or your iPad. Even non-iPhone software, like they're switching over to that app use, right?
Mhm.
It's intuitive, it's easy for us to navigate, and it takes that guesswork out. There's also no student account that's required, which for us, and I'm sure most teachers in schools, this is a big deal. I feel like unless my student has access to a website through what we call our Launchpad, it's basically our avenue for our students to access all of our district approved websites, resources and things like that. So the students already have that on their computer, all of those apps ready to go. They're approved, they're safe, and they're ready for them. But the students get really bored with those very quickly. There's only so many things that are on their launch pad of apps that where they can go. So, there's a lot of other resources out there on the internet, but teachers are apprehensive a lot of times because either it's unsafe, we don't know about it, I didn't take the time beforehand to, check it out and approve it before I let my students go on. And you cannot have that happen, because there's many stories of, you want to make sure that you check things out before you're sharing it with your students, right? But it's also, it's not going to require them to have an account or a login or another username to remember. this is a huge thing for a lot of teachers, or even parents too, right? Like, we cannot remember any more passwords and accounts. So for us as teachers, if we're using Symbaloo, you would want to have your account, but you don't even have to still use it. So, my teachers here or my students here, if they're using a web mix that I have shared out, they never needed to create an account to use it. They would have to create an account to create their own web mix. They would have to create an account to, search for those resources in the library and, add them to a web mix. But it's free to make an account. It's not like it's going to, make or break you if you don't have the account.
Mhm.
But for the students, it is really helpful because, again, it's just one less thing to have to worry about with them, and it's reliable, it's safe. Symbaloo already has, I'm going to show you here, they already have filters and, authentication tools and other things set up so that it's not going to, take time away from the teachers and have to worry or weed through certain things. So again, that's a huge thing when it comes to education, in that, you don't have to sit there and worry about the things that you're sharing. I'm going to share that here in a second when I start kind of going through the examples. So this right here, this is actually an example. This is a flyer. It has a QR code on it, and the QR code is linked to a web mix, all on Hour of Code. So again, this week is Computer Science Education Week. We're really trying to promote Hour of Code and just trying to use code and see what it's like. And there's a lot of stuff out there. If you Google Hour of Code, you're just going to drown in a ton of what they call plugged resources, which require a device, or unplugged, which are worksheets or activities that you can do with just your body, or paper, that do not require a device. But there's a ton of resources out there, and which is great, but it's also overwhelming, and you don't want to weed through them all when you're seeing so much. So again, Symbaloo is a way to kind of streamline all of those resources, especially with STEM in general. This is what I'm talking about right here. STEM is very all-encompassing in the fact that, we're talking all science, all technology, all engineering, all mathematics, and, perhaps even art and reading if you're throwing those in. That's a very broad category, right? That could include a lot of different things, especially when you're talking about kindergarten standards versus fifth grade standards versus, high school or college level. So I just really, really love that Symbaloo can kind of streamline them, make them more, just more easy to manage, and, not get that overwhelming, crumbling, paralyzing feeling when you have too many great things. So again, I just really like how it kind of streamlines it. So yeah, this was an example of a poster that I've shared out with other teachers. It could be put in like the mailroom or the copy room. It could be sent in an email, just shared, And the QR code makes it easier for anybody, because thankfully we're in 2022 and most people know how to scan QR codes. Even the students. I mean, I had kindergarten in here, and they just knew. They see that little, pixelated box, and they know what to do. So yeah, they scan their device, and boom, it will instantly bring them to, and I'll show you what this one links to. It's going to go to the Hour of Code web mix. So this one right here, I love this one. And it is broken down into grade levels. So I have all of kindergarten right here. I have all of first grade here, second grade, all in this line. So everything is organized. Like I said, it's really making it more convenient by keeping it organized. So the students, there's not like a thing they have to learn here. Once they scan their iPad on that QR code, it's going to instantly bring them right here. Again, they do not need to log into anything. It's going to bring them here, and on their iPad, on their device, they look for their grade level, and then they can choose which activity they want to do. And it's going to instantly link and bring them to that activity on their device, ready to go. There was no having to sit there, type it in. What was this, a P or a Q? I don't know. It's saving time, really, which is probably one of the most important things we could do.
Right.
So this is just one example of a web mix. Again, they could be shared different ways. If you look here specifically, I have a share button at the top of my web mix. So I could, copy and share the link this way. Again, I could add it to my classroom newsletter. I could, print it out on QR codes, things like that. Or even if you use Google Classroom, or we use Canvas for a learning management system, LMS, and it could be embedded right into the Canvas page with the HTML code, which I'll be honest with you all, we have kind of stepped a little back from using our LMS since returning face-to-face for schooling. But I don't think, I think it's just because we don't want to be on the computers as much as we used to be. But I think we're kind of slowly shifting back to, you know what, it was pretty convenient. And I think I do want to use more of the Canvas LMS kind of learning. So that's just been an interesting thing to observe, with the world of education and how it shifted since COVID and the pandemic. Yeah. But yeah, so this is just one. This is for the hour code specific for this week. But I wanted to share this with you guys. This web mix, I did not make. This was a web mix that was out on the Symbaloo resource library. So it's beautiful. It's perfect. Everything was laid out. Someone else took the time to make this. And I only had to take the time to find it and customize it to make it exactly how I want it, personalized for my kids. So I'll show you how I do that here so you can get an idea. So again, this one, our code, I like this one because it was broken down by grade level. But let's pretend I want to see what else is out there. I can go up to my magnifying glass to search. And you can see you can search for entire web mixes. So if I want to find a whole new web mix filled with different resources, I could find here. I could select to search for just tiles. So perhaps I don't want to make a whole web mix from scratch or find one, but I'm just looking for links, resources, or tiles to add. That's a good one to use as well. Or perhaps you want to find a specific profile. There's a lot of really talented, wonderful educators out in the Symbaloo community. And I would definitely suggest, following up with that, because there's a lot of awesome profiles out there that you can link up with. So for this demonstration, I'm going to look up, say, hour of code. So again, these are web mixes that were created by other users on Symbaloo. I did not make any of these, but you can kind of just look through and see what's out there. So let's check out this one here. Oh, that was the one I saved. That was literally the one that I saved from before.
Makes sense why you picked it again.
I know, I gravitated towards it. Let's see. Hour of code. Let's see if I add in week, if that's going to bring in it more. Let's try this one. So I could just kind of play around and check them out and see what's out there. If you scroll to the bottom, you can check out a description if they wrote one, any tags that's kind of connecting with. But this number I like looking at too. Typically, if they have, more followers than just 1 or 2, they usually produce some pretty good Symbaloo materials and things. So I usually kind of look for that number. But I also believe, there might be some newbies that have no followers, and they might be making some amazing web mixes. So don't, single them out just because they don't have a lot of followers. But let's pretend, maybe I don't like that one. I can still kind of browse around. And maybe, hey, it's got Moana in here. I know my kids like that. It looks like some pretty fun ones on here. If I were to be using this, I would first check the links, right? I want to see what kind of resources out there. Perhaps I even want to add it to my own bank of resources, but I would kind of check them out. And then if I feel like, you know what, I love this, I'm going to use this for my students. You can add this web mix. And basically what it just did is it added it to my dashboard here up at the top. So these were my other web mixes that I already had here. So the ones that I was showing from before with the Hour of Code, that Mega STEM one with all those, the little aviation one. So all of these web mixes are here. They're easy to access at any time, which again, I love. But the one that I just added is right here. If you notice, there's a little padlock on it. That means that it's locked right now. That means that somebody else, the creator, they have it locked so that no one else can technically change it. But I want to reuse this web mix and I want to change it and I want to share it out to my students. So this is what I do. I'm going to go up to that lock. Right here. Stop updates and enable editing. So basically what this is going to do is saying it's going to stop updates. So the creator of this web mix, if they decided, oh, you know what, this 2-minute video, it's actually a broken link now. And the creator could update that to fix it. So we would want the updates in that case. But for my case, I don't care about the updates. I want this web mix as it is so that I can edit, personalize it, and share it with my students. So if that's the case, it's okay to unlock it. I'm going to click Stop Updates. So if you notice, that lock is gone. And now I have the ability to actually go into settings. I have the ability to do all of these new abilities that I did not have before when it was locked, because now this web mix technically kind of belongs to me in the way that it's in my control now. So I might want to come over here and maybe I want to change the name of it. Maybe I want it to say my school's name. Maybe I want the wallpaper, maybe I don't want that image and I want to keep it really simplified. I can keep it to a solid color. Or maybe I want to change the background to the background of your school or the background of your STEM lab or something like that. You are 100% able to do that. Your size of the web mix, you can actually resize it. If you want to add more to it, take away. The transparency, so again, how it's looking, or even the tabs. I like this part. You can even add a little icon onto your tab. So let's see, we'll just say a little diamond here. If you noticed at the top of my screen in the dashboard, it add a little diamond up there, which elementary age, those little tiny, details are important. Because you might have a non-reader and, saying, okay, click on the diamond or click on the rocket ship or, little tiny personalizations like that go a long, long way. So this is if I want to kind of edit and customize the look and everything of that web mix that I just stole from somebody else. Maybe I don't want Candy Quest on there. I can easily delete it. Candy Quest is gone. Maybe I don't want Santa Tracker on there. I can delete that. Maybe I want Santa Tracker to come up here. I literally just clicked and dragged that over. Again, it's very intuitive in figuring the platform out. It's just very, very simple to use. The center logo here, I love putting my own customized image here. So if you kind of look at some other examples, my Girls Who Code Club, I've got the logo in the center there. Social emotional learning books will pop up here in a second, but I just like having those little tiny touches. Again, it kind of, it just helps the students in more ways than we are really realizing it is helping them with. Let's see over here. National Aviation Day, you know, it's just simple little images like this, and it was not hard to find. I'm going to show you how I do that here. So this one was just the standard stock, you know, image for Symbaloo, right? That's going to be your default. But if you wanted to change it, so let's pretend I want, this is all about Hour of Code Week, so I want something about Hour of Code. Grab a picture that you want to use. I right click to copy for the image address. I'm going to go back over to my Symbaloo, editing my logo, and right here, that's the image URL. So I'm going to get rid of that one, paste the new one. If you want it to link, perhaps you want it to link directly to code.org, because that's the main you know, promoter for Hour of Code. Then you can enter in a URL, change any of that, and there it is. That looks beautiful. I love that. You could even get as creative as, you know, I mean, you could, there's a lot of things that you could do here as far as it. You could spotlight student work in the center, or maybe even student images or teacher images. You could, you know, kind of put a center image there for, you know, the focus for the week. And guess what? You could even have things in there that's not even a logo or an image or picture. Symbaloo has different widgets that you can place here instead. Like you could put a calculator there, or a notepad for students to take notes and type inside in the center. So it's kind of mind-blowing when you get into it and start, you know, seeing all of the customizations that you can do with it. So yeah, this would be a web mix. Like I said, I did not make it. I took it from somewhere else, and you know, just within 5 minutes, I was able to personalize it and make it into what I want. And then I'm able to actually share it with my students, with my parents, with anybody that I would like, using any of these sharing ways, or you know, doing something like a QR code to, you know, kind of streamline that over. So that was, let's see here. I was talking about a lot of things at the same time here. One of the other, see it, searching for STEM using Symbaloo, the resource library. I was talking about that earlier, and that is such a benefit. I know that, you know, again, we kind of gravitate towards like social media because we're already on social media. So a lot of times it's just easier to kind of, you know, you're working, but you're really just kind of scrolling through social media and looking at teacher ideas or classroom ideas or STEM ideas, right? Those are like, I feel that that is in a way its own professional development, because you're, you know, taking the time to read about, look about, I mean, that is research, informal, right? But it's still time that you're putting into finding and learning more about something. So yeah, I would highly recommend to kind of add the Symbaloo resource library into your bag of tricks, into your bag of resources where you go to. I know most teachers, like myself personally, like I said, I feel like I kind of gravitate towards Instagram when it comes to searching for ideas. Pinterest obviously is a big one, or the Symbaloo resource library. Just to kind of show you another example here, if you were to do, I'm looking around my room right now. So like winter STEM ideas, we're almost to Christmas time. We're doing a lot of like wintry things, snow, that kind of thematic teaching. Look, I just typed in winter and there's all these things already coming up. Winter games, winter Olympics, winter mix. Ooh, stories, songs, games. This one looks good. See, and it's just a matter of, look, and someone already took all of this time to find these resources. I can tell this is a great one because of a lot of the titles that they have.
And it
now,
almost looks like a snowflake.
Yeah.
The design.
This is so cool. Yeah, I'm gonna add this one actually. But the kids like it because you get that choice in your learning. That is such a huge benefit in what you can do with your students. You want it to be customized and tailored to them, right? That student-centered learning. But you have to be careful because if you're giving them too much, like I was saying earlier, it's like they're not going to do anything because you overwhelm them. And you can't do that either, right? So you have to give choice and options, but not too many. And so I feel like that balance it can be found nicely with using a tool like Symbaloo. So yeah, I mean, learning and growing any of your current new ideas. This is also a big thing too. The resources out there, they stay up to date. You watched me demonstrate the process of locking or unlocking, which is a way for you to, I keep saying I'm stealing his ideas or her ideas, but that is really important because if it's locked, you're gonna receive those updates, which is really, really, really important in 2022. Technology is changing and getting outdated faster than anything. Yeah. So the best technology to invest in is the one that's going to adapt and update, right? So Symbaloo has definitely done that. Themselves as a platform, they've updated a lot, even in the last few years that I've been a user. But just for you as well, like if you have a web mix and that you're following, you can trust that person, if they are updating it on their end, then you're going to see the updates on your end as well. So that's definitely important. And then the last one here, expanding your own professional community. I was mentioning how you can search for other profiles here, but I've come across other educators simply from searching for resources. Let me just pull up another example here. If I was looking, let's see, engineering, I'll type in engineering interactives and games. So, perhaps I'm looking around, I see this web mix, and Mrs. O'Neill sounds like, my best friend. Like she picked out these awesome resources that I would have picked out. And, you could follow those teachers. You can learn about them. And it's helpful because that you want to kind of stay grouped with those teachers to help collaborate with. It's just a really important thing. Again, helping you stay up to date with technology and things when you have those peers to kind of collaborate, work with, follow, and learn from. So I've came across some really awesome educators on Symbaloo. So yeah, don't miss out on that. That's a good opportunity to tap into. And one last kind of idea or tip for using Symbaloo to integrate STEM, I would definitely suggest professional development in the way that, you know, we are constantly talking about the students using it, the students learning STEM, the students practicing STEM. But a lot of this is we have to get to the middleman first. We have to really make the teachers feel comfortable in doing this kind of learning so that it can trickle over to the students. So I've kind of noticed, you know, there's a lot of excitement for this type of learning. A lot of teachers want to do this kind of learning because they fortunately do see the benefits in it, but they, you know, they're scared. It's a new thing. It takes time to learn a new thing, and it can be scary because it's a different type of learning style that, you know, traditional teachers aren't used to. So, you know, using a tool like Symbaloo, it can help your teachers get more acclimated to, you know, what works for them and the pace that works for them. So having a web mix set up for your teachers. So, you know, this is what STEM is. These are video examples of STEM. This is where you can get all of your templates to print out your rubrics for doing a STEM. This is where you can go to, you know, sign up for a lesson with me and I can help you with STEM, you know. There's a lot of things out there, and Symbaloo can kind of help, again, to streamline it and kind of bring it all together to make it more accessible and just easier to be able to implement this with our students. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I feel like I've just been rambling and talking like nonstop.
No, it's been great. We got a few comments that this was really important information, and so that they're really glad that you shared it. So thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, this was really great, and this will obviously be on our YouTube for forever, for the end of time. And we really like working with Jillian, especially around STEM and STEM related things. So I know that, you know, teachers that also, you know, do the kind of work that you do are very appreciative of you doing this type of work and getting to the nitty gritty so that they are able to also integrate this with their classrooms. So thank you so much, Jillian.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, there's a ton of things out there too. I wanted to mention, not even on the Symbaloo, you know, tool side, but if you actually go to their website, you can find a lot of really helpful things on their blog. If you want to go, if you kind of look towards the bottom here and you get to the actual website, again, there's a lot of resources on their actual site. So that's something else. If you're kind of playing around and exploring with the tool or with the resource library, like I showed, I would also just check out the blog because they have some really good videos. There's articles on there, and there's a ton of really, really good web mixes that the Symbaloo team already made, and they're like really, really good. There's one on like Women's History Month and the periodic table of what was the, I'm blanking on the name.
We do so many of those, so there's a ton of those.
Yeah, they're really, really good. So again, even if you just kind of like steal them and then edit it to what you want,
please do.
Yeah,
those take a very long time to make, so please utilize them. Yeah, so any type of History Month, Black History Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, yeah, we make web mixes for all of those for our teachers so that they can share them with their classrooms.
Yes. And again, yeah, it's free to use. So there's not, you know, they do have paid ones if you want more features and things, but you can do everything I was showing without having to pay for any of those ones.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's any other questions or anything, feel free to reach out. Like I had shared, you know, you can find me on Twitter or Instagram or LinkedIn at Jill Johnson STEM there. But yeah, I'm always happy to share this. Like I said, you kind of can't get me to stop talking and rambling on, but I will for the sake of time. But Michelle, it was really, really, it was just really great. I'm very, very grateful for, you know, working with you guys. It's been awesome. You're just a really great company.
Thank you. That's great to hear. And thank you so much for putting this together and spending the time to present this to our educators. It was really great.
Absolutely. Anytime.
And then thank you to whoever is watching for also taking the time out of your day to get some more knowledge and get some more info maybe on STEM or just on Symbaloo in general. We do appreciate everyone watching out there. So thank you again, Jillian. And until next time, happy holidays.
Perfect. Happy Computer Science Education
Yes,
Week.
Can't forget that.
We don't have any good music or, you know, any Christmassy things like that, but it's still fun. We're having a fun last few weeks of school before break.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.